guys, it's me, Catherine. Hope you're all well. Today I've been playing around with a couple of things, mainly liquid clay. So I've come up with a couple of ideas which will be in this video and the next video, so stay tuned for that. But what we're going to do today is a Faux Patina on copper, and the way I'm going to do it is using some liquid clay tinted with alcohol inks, and then paint it on and wipe off the top surface, much as you would do if you were using acrylic paints on a textured surface in a multimedia project or a mixed media project. The reason I'm doing it this way is I won't need to seal it, because that opens another can of worms, and you'll see what I mean on my test sample. Now this is the sample that I've done. Look at that shimmer, and that was just a little bit of sanding. This Cernit metallic is fabulous. Just to prove a point, that's Cernit metallic, and I used Fimo copper on the back. Now it's had the same buff. I did the same treatment on the back as I did on the front, and look at the difference. Granted, I may not have finished the surface as well. I mean, it's still shiny, it's still lovely, don't get me wrong, but you can't look at that. It's just stunning. Anyway, I'll shut up. What I've done here with the turquoises is I mixed some white liquid clay. Now I've used white because I wanted the opacity. If I'd have used clear, it may have looked a little bit washed out. So I'm using white. Use whatever brand you've got if you're having a go. I've just got the Sculpey one. And I also used 2 alcohol inks. Again, I notice a lot of people use the Panata, is it how you pronounce it, brand? I've just got the Ranger ones. So I used 2 drops of turquoise and 1 drop of Mermaid. But I actually might make this one a little bit greener. This one's still a little bit turquoisey blue, but still looks pretty. So you're going to need, obviously, some copper coloured clay, something to colour this with. Now you could colour it with whatever you want. You may have some mica powders. You could use a little bit of what's it called, acrylic paint, whatever you've got. But the reason I've done it this way is because once it's baked, I don't have to worry about this surface in here. It's never ever gonna come off because it's clay. It's baked clay, so I can buff away without worrying about this. I don't have to paint a whole of that to protect it, and then I'd have a glossy inside and a glossy top, so then I'd have to resand. Oh, you get where I'm coming from. So I've done it this way so that all you have to do is buff this raised surface. Can you see the surface is raised? And I raised the surface by using just one of my texture treads. I used that one. I do have a few of these. You can use your rubber stamps. You can use whatever you want. A stencil, roll a stencil into it, as long as you get a bit of relief, because these are quite deep. I'm probably going to use this one. I just think it's a bit more of a busy pattern, but we'll see as the day goes on. So I've been babbling, haven't I? So you're going to need a couple of cutters for the project I'm doing today. You're going to need a bit of stringy material. I've got some, it's actually talc because I couldn't find my corn flour. I'm just going to brush over my texture thread, then it doesn't stick. And this is a sketch of what we're going to do. So we're going to cut out like a donut shape, if you like. The centre bit that we've cut out, we need to be careful with, because we're going to put an eye in the end, excuse me, an eye in the end and make a bead. So this will be popped through that necklace. I made one similar in a faux green stone, if you remember. I just love this style, and I thought it would look really nice with this copper. So that's what we're going to make. I'm using Cernit copper, and I'm going to use, I do have some scraps of Fimo copper. I'm going to use that as my backing so that I'm not wasting my metallic, because it's in short supply at the minute. I was only allowed to buy 3 packets of clay when I ordered, so I know it's in short supply at the minute and people are struggling. I have no idea how to make your own copper. You might be able to mix a couple of metallic colours and make your own. Maybe if you Google, you could find it. But I've not got a mix for you today, guys, because I don't know how to mix a metallic copper colour up. Somebody out there might do that. So yeah, so you're going to need some Sculpey liquid, alcohol inks, or something to colour your Sculpey liquid with. Whatever you're using to make your shapes. Some clay. Again, you don't have to use copper. You could do this white and you know, well, maybe not white because it might, the alcohol ink will tint. But if you haven't got any metallics, you could just, you know, use a dark grey or something so it looks like silver. Entirely up to you guys. So yeah, that's everything you're going to need. Oh, and a little bit, I'm just going to use a bit of spray alcohol on a cloth to wipe the excess off. Again, if you haven't got any alcohol, you could just moisten a bit of kitchen roll. It's just so you can get that top wet clay off before we bake it. So yeah, they're the things you're going to need. I'm going to get a few more bits together, get my oven turned on, see if I can get this cat to shift because she's sat behind me complaining every time I move, and I'll see you all in a bit. Bye. Hi guys, right, I've conditioned my Cernit. That's on a 2, and I've conditioned the copper Fimo, and that's on a 1, because I don't want it too thick, but it needs a bit of weight in it. So I'm just going to leave them 2 there, and I'm going to get just piece of Perspex, and I'm going to mix some, where's my trusty stirring stick? I've lost it. The cat was playing with it this morning. Oh, there it is. It's the end of an old paintbrush that snapped. I'm just going to put some white on here. Like so. And I'm going to put 2 drops of blue and mix that first, and it doesn't go everywhere. And once that's reasonably well mixed, I'm just going to put 2 drops of green which is, I'm using Mermaid. It's like a greeny blue. Make sure it's well mixed in. Doesn't have to be perfectly mixed in, but I don't want any bits of white showing. And there we go. I'll just grab a tissue, clean my stick. So that's that. I've got that mixed. I've got a bit of talc here, and it's actually a watercolour mop brush, but it's great for dusting. And I'm going to use this pattern, and I think these are, it's like two different textures, the same texture but the reverse. So I think I'm going to use the less dense one, which is this one, and I'm just going to dust a bit of talc in. Like so, to stop it sticking. I'll just take it and tap the excess out. There we go. And then I'm just going to take my Cernit and pop it on. Get my little roller ready. Now I'm going to do this with my fingers, because I found if you roll it, there's a lot of movement in the clay and it can ghost your pattern. So if I do it like this, I just find it easier. And then once I've done that, I'll just roll over with my roller, just to flatten the back out. Just turn it. Like so. And then gently peel off the pattern, which is really pretty. So yeah, you can see that nicely. And I'm just going to layer this over my backing. I'll just pop a bit of paper on and gently smooth it down. I'm not putting any pressure on really, I'm just smoothing it. Then I know that the background is stuck to the foreground, for want of a better phrase. And what did I do? Oh yeah, there they go. I've got my cutters, so I just need to decide where I want my pattern to go, and my pendant's going to be this way up. This is the bottom. So I think I don't know, maybe trying to get as much busyness, excuse me, as much busyness in as I can. I think I'll do it there. So I'm just going to cut that now. And give it a wiggle to make sure it's gone through. Take this bit out of the way. Out you come. just smooth that little bit there where the cutter was. Just make sure there's no crumbs, or I can catch those later, so I'm not worried. And then we're going to cut out the centre. And I think, do I want it a bit thinner at the top? I think I'll put mine about there, so it's a little bit fatter at the bottom, but reasonably the same all the way around the other sides, if that makes sense. And I'll just cut that, give it a little wiggle, and with a bit of luck it'll, there we go. And this is where I always end up buggering it up, because I forget to put corn flour on the bloody, oh, swearing, on the cutter. Just make sure that this hasn't got any too big crumbs on it. Right, I'm going to pop them in the oven. Oh, I need to make a bead first, but I'm going to part bake these, but I'll just make myself a bead. Circle cutter would help. Don't want a massive bead, and I want to try and preserve some pattern on it, so I'm just gonna cut that out there. Got a bit of white clay that was still on that, and I'm just gonna fold this in on itself. And then I may not preserve the pattern on this, guys. Oh no, I haven't, but we shan't worry about it. I just want a nice bead shape. I can always dapple a bit of colour on it later. Try and get a bit more round. And then I think that's a bit too big, to be fair. So I'm just going to pinch a bit off and shape it again. And you can do whatever size bead you want, guys. It doesn't have to be a circular one. And I don't really use, I've got some bead maker things, but I don't really bother with them. I think it's just a bit more organic when you do it like this. There we go. That's round enough for me. So I've got a little bead, my dangler and my main pendant, and I'm going to part bake these now for 10 minutes, and then we can put the colour on and finish baking. So I'll pop these in the oven. I'll be back in a few minutes. Hi guys, just a quick interruption. I've made another little bead. I've done it a bit overly because this one's come out the oven and it's got a big crack in it. Can you see? Now I could probably stick a bit of clear clay liquid, yeah, clear liquid clay in, but I'm not going to risk it for the sake of a bit of clay. So I'm just going to bob this little bead back in and let it catch up. So I'll be back in a sec. Hi guys, right, we're done. New bead. So I'll just pop these two bits to one side for a second while we concentrate on this. And I've got an old tatty brush, just a fine, it doesn't really matter, just a small brush will do. You could probably even use a sponge and stipple it or something. And all I'm going to do is get some of our painty mix on my brush, and I'm just going to liberally getting into all the nooks and crannies. I'm trying not to get any down the sides, but we can wipe it off, so it's not a problem. And I'm liberally painting the surface. And the good thing about this is it's not going to dry until you bake it, so you don't have to rush like you would with acrylic paint if you were doing that sort of technique. I've seen the acrylic paint one online, and I've seen one done with mica powders too. And again, with the mica powder, I know I've got the Perfect Pearls that have got a binder in, so you don't necessarily need to finish the surface. But you're never going to get that mica off everything, are you? If you know what I mean. So it's a bit messy. Then you're going to have to sand all any mica off the top. So then you might lose your relief, which is part of the design. So, you know, each to their own. But I like to keep things as simple as possible and try and do things that way. Right, that's that bit done. I mixed a little bit too much paint, but never mind. To be fair, it'd probably keep for another project. There's not that much wasted, but... And as usual, I've got it everywhere, not just where I'm supposed to have it. Just make sure you get all those nooks and crannies, turn it around and have a look. Make sure you've got them all. You can see a little bit there. And what I'm going to do with this bead, get this bit of tissue ready to sit it on. Just over half of the bead, I'm just going to stipple a little bit of this, just to give it a, oh, if I can hold it, that is, just to give it a little touch of patina, just a little tiny stipple. I'm just going to tap it with my finger to thin it and spread it a bit, and that's enough. Don't want to do the whole of it, I'm just going to do half of it, make a feature of it. So I'll pop that down there. Put this to one side. Now what I'm going to do is get a bit of picture roll. Just fold it up so it's easier to handle. Spritz it with a little bit of alcohol to make it damp. Again, if you haven't got any alcohol, you can always use just some water. Just get your thing damp, and I'm just going to swipe over the top. And can you see, by doing that, it really does remove that top piece. I'm just going to keep going around till I'm happy. with what I've removed. Don't forget to go a couple of different ways, then you catch different surfaces. I'm just going to dab it in a little bit. There we go. There's my main piece. But you don't really need any alcohol, it's a habit I've got into doing, I think, art-wise. Just to, it's a bit fiddly because I can't quite keep hold of it while I'm wiping. That's enough. I'm just going to pick up, I've got a little cotton wool bud. I'm just going to go around the sides with my cotton wool bud just to clean off any drips or fingerprints in my case. There's none on the back, a bit there. Let's get this inside bit done. Happy with that. Oh, there's a bit hiding there, right. So that's that cleaned up. And I'll just go around the edge of this one while it's on the desktop because I don't want to pick it up. Just double check there's none on the back. I didn't think there would be, but you never know. Right, there's our 2 pieces. And I've got my little stippled bead. I might do a bit more actually. I did think just do half and it makes it like a feature, but I think it looks quite cute, so I'm just gonna stipple a little bit more and then just tap it with my finger just to knock it back a bit so it's not as defined. That'll do. Wipe my hands off on this paper towel. There we go. Right, I'll pop these back in the oven now. Probably half an hour, so they'll have had 40 minutes, which I think is ample. And then we'll come back and give them a buff and take it from there. Okay, guys. Oh, I was going to put my eye in, but I won't. I'll do it later. I've just got a little eye to put in this piece. I'll do it when it's baked and just use a little bit of glue. Okay, guys, I'll put these in the oven. I'll be back in a few. Hi guys, I'm back. So these are nice and baked now. I'm just gonna go over, and there's a couple of little rough edges. So I'm just gonna give them a quick go over with a file and get them buffed up. Again, I'm going to be using my trusty nail files. You can pick these up really cheap from Amazon, or I use AliExpress a lot, as you know. So I'm just going to take the rough edges off with my roughest piece first. I'm not going to touch the tops with this. This is just to take those little burrs off the edges that I didn't clean up because I didn't want to pick it up. And to be fair, they're pretty neat anyway, because as you know, I'm a great believer in the neater it goes in the oven, the less work you have to do when it comes out. Little twiddly bit in there that I think I'm going to struggle to get to. I'll just grab my metal file, I won't be a sec. Just a metal nail file that I use for twiddly bits. Sometimes it's hard to get in to some areas, and this is a little bit rough, but it does get them off quick. I could use my Dremel, but I'll just use this. That's what I'm in the mood for today. Just get that edge off with this. It does the trick. There we go. So I'll just go around this again and smooth it to the same level as I would before I start using the other colour files. This one isn't too bad at all, but I will just, it's a bit sharp, that edge, and you don't want anything sharp against people's skin, do you? There we go, and this is fine, so it doesn't really need any sanding. I know I'll go in with the next size down, as you would with your sanding papers. And just make sure everything's nice and bonny. Just get these edges in here. Make sure they're nice and smooth, and I'm just going to give the back of this a rub with the flat of the file, just so it's quite smooth really. I just want to make sure that I can buff it up a little bit. And the back is the Fimo, if you remember, which, I mean, you can just tell even before it's buffed. You know, if I just do this, you can see the difference even before it's buffed. I'm really chuffed with these Cernit metallics, and I know not everybody can get hold of Cernit, but it's fast becoming my go-to clay. I believe it isn't very good for making canes because it's very soft, but as you all know, I rarely do any sort of cane work, so it being soft isn't a problem to me. Right, let's do this one. Obviously you can speed through this guy, so it's just I haven't showed it on screen for a while, so I thought I would just do a bit of sanding, because people aren't always aware of the different ways you can do things, are they? There we go. And I'm just on the smoothest side of this. I'm just going to lightly run over the top of this. Just in case there was any blue caught on it. Just give them a quick wipe to get rid of the dust. There is very little dust comes off with these doodads, and I do wear a mask if I'm wearing my Dremel or I'm doing a lot of sanding. I would wear the mask normally, but because this is just minimal sanding, I haven't got my mask on, so don't shout at me. Right, now I'm going to go to the lowest, which is just like a buffer and a shiner, and I'll just give this bead a bit of a buff up. I think because it hasn't had any fingerprints on it or been mauled with, you can see it's starting to shine up just with this shiner. So I'm just giving it a bit of a buff all over, just to bring that shine out in the Cernit. It really is a lovely clay. There's just a lovely sheen to it all the time. Really easy to buff up too. Right, I'll do the back and the sides. I think I'll put this down on here and just do this. Might be a bit easier with my hands being a bit iffy lately. It's this damp weather, I think. And just go over the sides. I need to order some more of these. They're getting a bit threadbare. I've got quite a few of the greys and yellows, but not many of the buffer ones. And then I'll just do the top. And I tend to do this. You can feel it drag, if that makes sense. So I'll do it on this one until I feel it stop dragging, which is about there. Just turn it round and I'll have got all the faces I want to. And then same again with this one. If you can see the difference or not, where the line of Fimo meets the Cernit, but the difference is ridiculous in the sheen. There's so much mica in them. I think it's mica, whatever it is they use in it. And again on the top surface, I'm just gonna keep buffing until I feel it stop dragging. Go. And now to buff, my favourite bit. Just look at that sheen already, just a couple of buffs. And it starts to squeak and you know it's done then. Not, I know it's not as glossy. You can see a couple of bubbles in the back. Not that I'm worried about them, but just doing these few steps really does buff it up, which is good for me because you know I'm not a big fan of sanding, but I'm also not a big fan of having to finish, you know, put lots of different finishes on. Don't mind putting a little bit of matte varnish on or glossy varnish on, or you know, if you want to make a dome up with resin. But when you just want a nice textured piece, you don't want to be messing around with. Varnishes and everything, which is why I thought this might work well with the liquid clay. It's beautiful, isn't it? If I say so myself. I'm afraid it's all the clay, it's nothing to do with me. It's just this lovely clay. Back a buff, never forget about your backs. I'm probably going to gift this to somebody for Christmas, so that's why I did that sample first, then I knew it would work first. It would work. And I always make a few notes of what I've done in my little, I have a little journal. I put some sketches in and things sometimes. It just reminds me of what I've done to some pieces. I'm just going to put this down and do it like this. Sorry about the squeaking. So I can get those little inside bits going. I'm going to struggle to get in there, but I'll try. Just give it a bit of a buff. There we go. So there's our two pieces, and you can see the shine on that copper. It's lovely, isn't it? And I'll just get a little bit of denim, give it a final buff with this, plus it gets rid of any little particles that are hanging around. I'm just going to put it down again because my hands aren't the best at the minute for gripping things. Go our lovely two pieces. I'll just give this a little. Did I give it a, yeah, I did give it a buff. I suppose if I wanted this really shiny, I could have glazed it or something, but I'm quite happy with the sheen that's come up on it. So there we go. A little bead and our bits. Right, stringing. Now, I wish I had something other than this black. This is just waxed. I think it's Faux Leather cord. It's not the true leather cord because it's too thin. My others. I wish I'd got maybe in a brown. Would probably work better, or a tan, you know, more natural colour, but this is all I've got, so this is what I'm going to have to go with at the minute. And obviously you need enough, it's going to be doubled, so you need enough to go around your neck and down to the pendant and down to the dangler. And I'd always suggest you cut off a bit more than you need. I'm just measuring it around my neck, guys. So I've probably got, I'll measure it for you once I've snipped my end. Right, I have got now, let me check. I've got 10, 20, I'm measuring it here, guys, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, about 75 inches of cord, and I'm just going to put it in half. Now you could put more beads on, couldn't you, and stuff. And I'm just going to do a loop, pull it through, and then turn it over, twist and pull it back through. That makes it lock, if you remember when I showed you in the other video. So you get that extra piece on top there that helps it lock in. Oh no, I'm doing it the wrong way. There is where I want it. Helps it lock the cord by doing that. So that's our first bit. Oh, my camera's gone iffy again. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so that makes it lock in place. And now we need to sort these two bits out. So I'm going to drill a hole through my bead, and I'm going to need to put a eye hook into this. So I'll just get my drill bits out and I'll be back in a sec. Okay guys, I've got my drill bits, I've got a little eye. Now unfortunately I don't have any copper ones, plus they'd probably be a bit too soft to be honest. So I'm using a silver one, but most of the cord is going to hide that anyway, isn't it? So I'm just going to, using a fine drill bit, that's kind of going in that direction. So I'm just going to, about here, give myself a little pilot hole. In fact, I'll do that a little bit bigger. So there's no loose bits. And I've got my eye. Now sometimes I put these in when it's before baking. I've never had any trouble with them coming out, and I know some people put a little dab of glue in. I'm not going to bother. I've never had any issues with them coming out. I think you've just got to take your time screwing it in so that you don't cross thread the hole. And if you just take your time, do a little pre-hole and then take your time screwing it in. It shouldn't go anywhere. And like I say, if you are concerned at all, just pop a little bit of glue on the end, but I wouldn't keep taking it in and out, in and out. That's when you damage the hole that you're going into. So there's my little eye for that piece. Now previously I've drilled holes in and poked the thread in, but because of this thread that I'm using, sometimes doesn't glue very well because it's so silky and shiny, so that's why I'm using an eye hook. And for my bead, I'm just going to do a small pilot hole, but I want quite a big hole, so because I need to get this thread through. So doing my think straight business, I'll get my pilot hole going. Just double check the way I'm holding the bead that it's going to go the right way, because I'm really good at not drilling straight holes through beads. I don't know if the rest of you are the same. And I've tried putting them in before, and unless they're really big beads, it just doesn't work for me. I get covered in fingerprints and then they distort. So I've always found drilling after a lot easier. And I don't think that's very straight, but we're not going to worry about it because it's going to be organic, as I call it. There we go. It's not too bad. Oh. So that's one size, and then I'm going to go in this way, the opposite way with this one, just so it bears that funny shape out that you get at the end. Oh, and this one has decided it doesn't want to go in, so I'm going to go from the other side. It's making my drill bit spin. I've not tightened it up enough, but with my hands, with my hands being a bit sore, I'm struggling to tighten things up, of course. Let's just get my scruffy pliers out. Sorry guys, this video is going to be one of those videos where everything's oh, so I tightened it a little bit. Oh, that's better. There we go. That's that one done. Come out. And now the big one. Ooh, it's been tough. There we go. Twiddle these ends so it's got rid of those claggy bits, if you know what I mean. And I'm just gonna pop my pokey thing in to make sure it's nice and smooth on the inside. There we go. Just take them bits of burrs off. Clean up my mess. Right. Okay, now we've got this. What I need to do now is put my bead on, ready. Oh, still got a claggy bit in that end. Yeah, I don't know. Fingers and thumbs again today, people. It's just that little bit there that isn't behaving itself. Let's push you in, see what happens. There we go. Right, I'm going to thread my bead on next. You'll see why in a sec. Come on. Through you go. There's a bit of clay stuck inside. I think that's why it's playing up. There. So I've got that bead on. Let's just make sure this is equal. Right. Now what I'm going to do is just uncoil my wires. What I'm going to do is put this through the eye hooks like so, and I'm going to double it over. Now you could tie it, just tie it, you know, pull an extra long piece and tie a knot. What I'm going to do is use a bit of copper wire to bind that together, and then hopefully all the ends will pass back into the bead and hide the ends, if that makes sense to you. Right, so I've got a bit of copper wire. I'm going to hold it pointing down the way my tails are, and I'm going to wrap and try and pull it tight on this first wrap. There we go. And then I'm just going to pull it as tight as I can and make a little coil. I'll just move my fingers down a little bit and you can see what I'm doing. Just coiling. And that should be plenty. I'm just going to scrush it together with my fingers. Where's those little pliers? Just going to give this end a little tug to neaten that end up. Push all these bits together. And then I'll get my snips. Or I can do it with my scissors. And I'm just going to snip this wire like so. And then I'm going to get my bead and slide it down the string. Now hopefully these cord ends will go through my bead. That's one through. Two through. Is it going? Come on. No, it's not having it. I'm going to twist and see if that'll help. I should have made sure that I'd bore this bead out a lot better, I think. No, they're just bunching up. Right, I'm just going to trim these a bit shorter, guys. And then the wire might help to push it in. Trim them on a point and try and tuck that end in, tuck that wire in, tuck that end in and that wire in, and there we are, we've done it. So I've pushed my bead down now and it's trapped the cord ends inside. Now you could put a bit of glue on before you do that, but I'm quite happy with how that is, just like that. It's nice and tight. So that's that. Let's clean this mess up a bit. So now we've got our pendant, and then this will pass through. Maybe loop it a couple of times, you know, do whatever you want to do. Let me just pass it through again. And there's our little pendant. I'll lay it down and you can see better. Obviously I'll take some pictures of it lit well and stuff. I'd have been a bit more pleased if that had have been copper, but beggars can't be choosers. I'll probably end up changing the card, but we won't worry about that now. But yeah, there's the pendant. Faux Patina copper. Nice little gift for somebody. And I'll put it on a nice long card. There you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that, even the fiddly bits. And I shall see you in the next video. Bye now.